Good afternoon, and thank you for being here for our press conference on drunk and distracted driving for the holidays. I'm pleased to be joined by my colleagues today, Supervisor Chad Lupinacci, Councilman Ed Smith. Councilwoman Sergel sends her regrets. She's under the weather, as does Councilman Cook, who hopefully is not under the weather. Inspector Scrima is always welcome from the 2nd Precinct. Thank you, Inspector, for being here. Bill Holden, we'll talk more about Karen later. She died tragically in a drunk driving accident 4 years ago. Lynn Rogers Palmeyer, who's Karen's sister. Lisa Anderson, Karen's cousin. And Joanne Spando, Karen's friend. Did I say that? Sparando, sorry. My vision's not too good here. Kevin Gershowitz from Gershow Recycling, and we want to thank Kevin. His company has generously donated this car last year, this year, and years past, and help as a living symbol or a symbol of what the effects of drunk driving can be, and we know how tragic it can be. And want to thank also our Director of General Services, Andre Sorrentino, who his department helped set up the car at this very prominent location here in the town of Huntington. Thank you all for coming. 2020 has been a very tough year, and due to the effects of COVID-19, alcohol and drug abuse are unfortunately way up this year. Alcohol sales have doubled since last year, and unfortunately, people are in a bad way, and many are turning to the abuse of alcohol as a kind of way to medicate themselves. There are mental health professionals in the town have told me they could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and not meet the mental health needs of people who are in pain. And it's certainly no excuse to drink and drive, but we know it's a lot more prominent. And we come into the holiday season, and my good friend Stephen Donnelly, who's been at the forefront talking about substance abuse and dealing with counseling, calls this time of year the Bermuda Triangle, right? We start with Thanksgiving. One of the biggest drinking days of the year is the day before Thanksgiving, go into Christmas, and then into New Year. And if you have issues, you enter the Bermuda Triangle at your peril. So it's important to keep that in mind. With the holiday season upon us, there's going to be a temptation to go to festivities. For better, for worse, there are less festivities this year, but during that time to connect with family. And Thanksgiving through New Year's, as we know, it is the most dangerous time of the year. Accidents involving alcohol increase and lives are unnecessarily lost. The car behind me is a sobering reminder of what can happen when people make the terrible decision to get behind the wheel of a car when they're drunk. Accidents happen, people die, families are torn apart. The town is happy to partner this year again with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Keys for Karen to remind us to tie one on for safety. And the idea is to tie this ribbon to your car handle, door handle, and as a visible reminder to you and others that if you're going to get behind the wheel, please do so in a way when you're alcohol free. If you have been drinking, don't drive. Make a plan. Designate a driver. Schedule a car service. And obviously there's Uber and Lyft and car services and traditional taxi companies that are out there. People stand at the ready to do that. And there are car services where you can actually drive your car somewhere, and they'll meet you there with your car and drive you and your car back home. So there are plenty of alternatives if you decide that you're going to indulge, to do so safely. Just the key is to make arrangements and think ahead. And if you see someone at a party who shouldn't be driving, let's stand up and do what's right and tell them that they shouldn't get behind the wheel and do them a favor. Let's make it a holiday that can be the safest one ever. If you'd like one of these ribbons, please call my office at 631-351-3171, and we will send you one. For information on MAD or Keys for Karen, please go to their Facebook pages. Thank you all for coming today. I want to invite my colleague, Supervisor Lupinacci to say a few words.
Good afternoon, and thank you to Councilman Cuthbertson and Gershow Recycling and Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the Holden family for coordinating this yearly press conference. And we are just reminding all of our residents in Huntington to celebrate the holidays responsibly and safely. And as we've been saying and repeating, that this year we've already been through so much and there's been so much tragedy and loss. Don't pile that on with thoughtlessness and reckless acts. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Stay alert, stay sober, and be aware of other drivers. And we know that there are ride-sharing services out there, and obviously we have to limit our gatherings in our residential homes this year to under 10, but account for everyone that's visiting and remind them, if they can't take ride sharing, that to offer them a ride home if there's someone sober in the house, and just if they're driving to your house, say we'll take care of the car in the morning. And I think those are all reminders that we have to continuously say. And approximately 29 people in the United States lose their lives daily due to drunk driving. We don't want to add to those statistics this year. And nearly 330,000 injuries occur each year from accidents caused by texting while driving. We don't want to add to those statistics either. So stay safe, stay healthy, and make sure to keep an eye on one another at your family and friends gatherings during the holiday season. Thank you.
I like it. They wore matching overcoats, so it looks like I'm flanked by the Secret Service today. Let me turn it over to Councilman Smith to say a few words.
Thank you, Councilman Cuthbertson, and thank you to the Holden family for coming out, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and the Suffolk County Police Department, and Gershow Recycling for putting this event together as a reminder that we want to be safe this holiday season. I would also like to take this opportunity to remind bars and restaurants, it's a good time of the year when there's perhaps new staff coming on, to do recurrent training for your servers, your bartenders, your waiters, waitresses that are serving people alcoholic beverages, to ensure that they're not serving somebody who is visibly intoxicated. Because ultimately, at a commercial establishment, it is the server and the commercial establishment and the license holder that is responsible for who gets served and whether or not they're visibly intoxicated. You may not like it as a restaurant owner or a bar owner, but you will be held responsible if somebody goes out and hurts somebody after being served at your restaurant. So this is a good time of year to conduct recurrent training of your staff and ensure that they understand the visible signs of intoxication. So with that, I want to thank you all again, and everybody please be safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. As we mentioned, it's been 4 years since the tragic passing of Karen Holden, and we are so really blessed and lucky to have their family here who want to speak out on a very difficult thing and a time for them. So I want to invite Joanne Spadano, Karen's friend, to come up and say a few words.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joanne Sparando, and I am a friend of the Holden family. We lost our angel Karen on June 26, 2016, to a drunk driver. Karen was a nurse at St. Francis Hospital for over 30 years. And of course, she is missed so terribly. She took care of all of us. As a friend, I attended all of the court dates and had a front row seat to the devastation that this kind of loss wreaks. I promise you, you do not want any part of it. And that's why we stay active and we try to remind everybody, especially now that the holidays are here and in the middle of this horrible pandemic, to keep safe. You do not want this kind of pain. We are feeling Karen's absence even more, especially because of the pandemic. She was a compassionate, caring nurse. And like I said, she took care of all of us. She would have been on the front lines of this fight with COVID. So her absence is so heartfelt. We miss her so very much. She would have been out helping as many people as possible. We know that. So please, I can't say it enough. Be safe, be smart, take care of each other. We have to take care of each other. Thank you very much. Don't drink and drive.
Thank you, Joanne, and I apologize for butchering your name not once but twice. Let me call upon our Suffolk County Inspector Scrima, who is here from the Suffolk County PD, and we thank him for that.
Good afternoon, everybody. And first of all, my condolences to the family and friends who have lost somebody. My condolences to anyone out there who has lost somebody, family and friends. My thanks to the members of the town for putting this together. Every year they try to get this message out. They help with getting an important message out. And just as one example, a quarter of our fatal or serious injury accidents have alcohol or drugs associated with it. That's a lot of lives impacted. Those are tragedies for all those people, their families, their friends. As we all know, it's been a terrible year. Terrible for a lot of people in a lot of ways. But don't make it tragic on top of that. Don't make it tragic for you and your family members and friends, and don't make it tragic for somebody else and their family members and friends. As terrible as this year has been, I'm hopeful that in a way the virus might help out with this problem. Many of the Christmas parties are canceled, and a lot of the bars and restaurants aren't open as late as they normally are. So a lot of the gatherings are now smaller. So if you're going to a smaller gathering or you're hosting one, just please make sure either you and your family members and friends and anyone who attends, make sure everyone has a safe way to get home. Make sure this holiday season is a safe one and a happy one. So happy holidays to everybody, and thanks again to the town for putting this together.
Thank you so much, Inspector, and for all our police who are here in attendance for the work that they do on the front lines. Last but certainly not least, I want to call Kevin Gershowitz. Kevin is president at Gershow Recycling, and I always emphasize the word recycling because the metal car behind us that they're going to recycle, about, I think 80% of the cars, the steel for cars in the United States, comes from recycled metal. So it's a really important part of the recycling stream, and they are a great corporate citizen on Long Island. Kevin is a Melville resident. They have a location in the town of Huntington, so they've always been a supportive and terrific corporate citizen. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, everybody, for attending, and to the Holden family, so sorry for your loss. There's no reason to drink and drive. We have too many conveniences today with our cell phones and our apps. If you don't want to wind up dead, don't drink and drive. But worse than that, if you don't want to hurt somebody else, don't drink and drive. We receive thousands of cars each year that look like this due to driving accidents. Don't be one of them. Don't drink and drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. And unless anyone else would like to be heard, I think that wraps things up. Thank you all for attending and being a part of this.